Dear brothers and sisters, take with me a deep breath from this beautiful air, from this beautiful now moment, wherever you are. You are alive. This is a beautiful and amazing time to be alive, to be here on earth. There's a paradigm shift that is happening right now, and you can sense it inside of you. And it's time to celebrate that, to celebrate the beauty on it, to celebrate the part of you in it. As we reach towards the ending of this year, and throughout Earth, there's a shift in the light. Shift in light. In the northern hemisphere, the days are getting shorter and shorter. Darkness is more present. At the southern hemisphere, it's exactly the opposite. However it is, and wherever you are at, light is changing. The amount of light during the day is entering a shift and reaching that point of balance, which is the equinox that is going to happen just before Christmas. And it's not a coincidence. Here in Israel, these times are the times of the Maccabim. Hanukkah is being celebrated. The overcoming of the light over darkness. There's nothing wrong with darkness. This video will be about the separation and unity, and both are anchored in light and darkness. And it's important to emphasize that there's nothing wrong with darkness. There's just the mind perceiving it as fear. The mind cannot understand the darkness. The mind cannot put darkness into a chamber. It cannot categorize it. There's nothing for the mind to grasp on darkness. Whereas in light, the mind can grasp on the objects that we see, what we feel, what we sense. In darkness, it's time to trust. In darkness, it's time where the mind cannot grasp on the visual, cannot confirm that what it hears or what it senses is really what is. Let me repeat that. In time of darkness, the mind cannot confirm that what the body is sensing is true. That's why there's a sense of fear around that. And that's a reason for the mind to judge it as negative or as bad. If you're following my videos, you're already starting to change your perspective about negative and positive. Positive is something that is entering, it is something that is moving towards, whereas negative, it's a space that it's opening and welcoming. It's a passive and an active. There's nothing wrong or right about them. It's just two aspects of life that without their unity, there's no life as we understand that, as we experience that. Now, life is consisted of separation and unity, splitting and coming back together. It's what makes this reality real. When we want to create something in this earth, then we come to a unity of body, mind, and soul. And then there's a time of separation where we have to split things, where an atom or a cell needs to split in order to multiply, in order to become different cells. Much like in any so this is, right, the child becoming the fetus, the baby. All throughout nature, if it's in the flowers or the trees, or if it's in humans and in animals. And much like any creative aspect or process, even when we create, we need to first to separate the things. After the alignment of body, mind and soul, I understand what I want to do. I bring myself and my emotions to it, and I move my body through the emotional will of wanting to do it. Then there comes a time of separation again, to separate the things in order to make something different out of them. That's what the alchemist is doing, and each and every one of us is an alchemist. When I'm a painter wanting to paint a picture, I need to divide the colors and then mix them again together in order to create. If I'm a chef or I'm creating something in the kitchen, then I need to divide the different elements that I'm going to use when I'm mixing them, and then I'm creating them. And we have reached a standpoint of separation that is ingrained so deep inside of us that we look at this amazing creation, reality, and we separate ourselves from it. That's a tree, that's a stone, that's another person. Everything that we perceive is part of who we are. It's already inside of ourselves. And to anchor that in place, let me repeat that first. Everything that you see and perceive, it's inside of yourself. It exists in a world within who you are. And in order to anchor that down, this understanding, I ask you to acknowledge what God means in this reality. If we agree that God created all of that, or there's a being, a source for all of what we can see and perceive, and we agree that it's part of it, that everything that we see is a part of that whole, of that union, of that source, of that God, and that source or that God invested itself in the reality of its creation. It created all of this, or all of this was created through that power, that source, and then source breathed itself into that creation in order to bring it into existence, moving time into space. That's why we say there's a unity in everything. Everything appears to be separated, but there's a connecting point between every element and every creation in this reality. And that connecting elements bring them down to the center of that creation, which is the source. Source is infused. God is infused in the land. Father Sky is infused in Mother Earth. And that unity, that constant unity of the plus and the minus, of the female, of the masculine and the feminine, that is what keeps on this cycle repeating, of bringing new life. When the masculine, when the idea infuses itself in the feminine, in Pachamama, on earth, then there's a power that starts evolving in this unity and receiving its own consciousness, becoming, and then separating itself from the powers that created it in order to become an individual unity on this planet Earth, in this reality. And it is still connected in its core to the two forces that created it, the mother and the father, the masculine and the feminine, the plus and the minus, the idea and the physical. And you, my friend, are operating exactly the same. You might perceive yourself as a male, as a masculine, or as a feminine, but in your core you are a unity, and you are connected to that unity, which makes you connected with every piece of structure or physical item or object or creative force that you can perceive around you, which means you are the center of it. You are the connecting point of all of that. And that in itself means unity. So I feel every morning empowered to talk with people and to remind people about unity. Unity does not negate separation. I am an individual, you are an individual, that other person is a different individual. It doesn't negate that. It just reminds us that we are connected in the core of our beings. And through that connection, if we follow that and if we enhance that, then we fulfill our lives. Then we unite with the source. Then we are part of that source. And that the source is moving through us and bringing creation through us into this reality. And that means discovering more beauty in your life, creating effortless in this reality, feeling the joy rises inside of you and allowing it to be expressed because you want to share that with other people. Isn't that what means heaven on earth? Let's start creating it.